It amazes me how more modern items of the day can so easily be tossed out and discarded because they're worn out. And yet, looking at this planter, for example, you can see a time in which pride was put into their work. This beautiful masonry and stonework on this planter. It's from the 1920s. And is absolutely beautiful. I would love to put this in my own yard if I could. That's how beautiful it is. And even in the ruins, structures from an earlier time always seem to outlast the ones of today. Such as this structure here. Of what it was, I don't know. It was built in the 20s, opening up 1932, I believe. This may have been a stage of some sort. There's a signage here we can take a look at, which has pictures. We're looking at pictures by a structure in the abandoned zoo at Kirby Park in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. I'm Adam Tereska of Adam Tereska Videos, and I will be giving you the tour. Here you can see the pictures that somebody put up for Native Americans. And I'm trying to see what we have the Oneida Nation. When I get my hand in there, try to get rid of the glare. There we go. We have the Oneida Nation, Mohawk Nation, Tuscarora Nation, Seneca Nation, Cayuga Nation, and the Onondaga Nation. If I mispronounce that, I apologize. But this placard was put up here by this structure in the abandoned zoo in Kirby Park. As we come along from this structure here, we come across this set of stairs. As I mentioned before, at a time of day in which people actually took pride in their work, these steps are pushing 100 years old, and they're still here intact to this day. Modern day cookie cutter materials would not last 10 years. They've lasted close to a century. As had this little jewel you see before your eyes now. This is the wading pool in the Kirby Park Zoo. I'm stepping in it right now, and I am now actually in the wading pool, which is now filled in from flooding, which actually closed the park. The park was flooded in 1936, and when they built the levees, they took away from the zoo, making it smaller and smaller. And the lack of public interest because of that is what finally shut down the zoo. As I take you around where you can see the edges of the wading pool here in Kirby Park, abandoned zoo. We step out of that, we will go down and continue on. There are actually benches back here in various locations where people can sit down and reflect or relax, take a break from our hike, as you can see here. How long these benches have been here, I do not know. But they're not going anywhere. My guess is they could have been put in the 20s for all I know, and they're still solid to this day. We're going to continue onward, and I'm going to take you further along into the abandoned zoo as we go around fallen tree limbs that are in the area here, back on the main path. These are easy enough to traverse. We'll just go ahead and continue on here. Go around this fallen tree here. One more, and back on the trail. We'll have to keep a keen eye out because of the fact that here in May 30th, I believe it is, 2019, or 2020, excuse me. Pardon me. We have a lot of foliage that we didn't have over the winter time when JPVideos and I came through here. As I mentioned before, JPVideos had a timeline on the zoo down here when we did the collaboration. I'm doing this video again because that footage that I had, that video that I had, somehow got lost. And so I came back to the zoo to do a new video. Now, to what this is for, I have no clue. But we have a cylindrical concrete, it looks like a light post that was dug up. Could have been brought up through the floods over the course of time. It's still sitting here. You can still see the metal piping on that side. Doesn't come through on this side. So the concrete was poured, the pipe was put in, probably a lamp of some sort, and then got flooded out over the course of time, or perhaps maybe even dug out when they abandoned the zoo. Now, while I am here alone today, I did not come without my little buddy. I always bring my little buddy with me because you never know. I don't carry with the intention of using it. I carry in the hopes that I can prevent using it. Now take note of this pathway. It is paved. The pavement from back in the 20s and 30s is still here to this day in spots. It shows a time in which pride was put in the work and not bottom line or the almighty dollar. Saddens me what has become in modern day. Now, there were several buildings and stages that I'm currently looking for. I'm hoping the foliage isn't so high that I miss it all, but we're taking our chances, and it appears there's more trees that have fallen since I've been here last with JPVideos. It was a pleasure to do a live stream with JP, and it's always a pleasure to do anything with JP as far as videos go, because he is a first-class videographer and YouTuber, and he does it right. We're still looking for buildings or any kind of structures that we can see. Hope it's not looking very good right now since the foliage is up. I'm hoping I didn't miss anything. But right now it's just not easy to find the stuff like it would be in the wintertime because of the fact that there's no foliage. That being said, I'm not a fan of winter, so that's why I'm making my return trip now. But as we continue to follow along the pathway, look for anything man-made that could be a point of interest relating to the zoo. quick timeline as I recall it. They started building it in 1921, became completed around 1929. They opened in 1932. Flood came through in 1936 and wiped out the place. There may or may not have been animals that were lost in the flooding. I don't have that information. I don't believe JPVideos had that information as well. So that is a question mark. And then they rebuilt while keeping the levee in mind and took away enough land from the zoo to where it was rendered unprofitable, and they closed it down in 1941 for good, as I best recall. So back on pavement again, and this isn't recent. This is not a recent pavement job. This isn't like 20 years ago or anything like that. This pavement is like from the 30s, and being foot traffic, it naturally would take less wear and tear, but nevertheless, it has seen its time over the course of being here. Thought I saw a structure there, but that was just a fallen tree. I know there are multiple structures down here. I don't know if I'm just not far enough, or if foliage has covered them up because of the fact that, it's now, like I said, it's the end of May instead of, I believe, December or January we did this trip, maybe February. I would have thought I would have seen a building by now, or the stage, or one of the stages. Trying to see if we can find anything here. Low bridge. Not looking too good for some reason. I don't know what's going on here. I can't believe the foliage is that high to cover everything up. As I'm back on dirt again. So, this pathway is the pathway through the zoo itself. I'm hoping nobody came through here and took away the buildings and stuff like that. It's a possibility. I see smoke now. Somebody may be having themselves a little bit of a fire. So we'll just keep tabs. We'll keep our distance in case there's something less than pleasant. And I see structure now. I see a structure. I knew they were here. It was just a matter of finding them. I wasn't far enough down the path, that's all. But we're coming across one right now. You may be able to see it. Graffitied and everything else, but still standing. We have a structure. I'm not sure what that structure was. We thought it was possibly an eatery, like a place to cook, although some people have said it could be a bathroom at the time, and the windows were those non-see-through translucent windows, which is a possibility. It also looks like it possibly is sunken in. But here you go. Here's one of the structures. And as you can see here, by the ground being uneven like this, this was flooded and it was filled in. So I'm probably standing on, coal waste, possibly silt. You can see the windows. Now, whether or not these, as I said, I don't know if this was a concession stand, if this is a men's room. We have piping of some sort that could have been for a stand, could have been for toilets, it could have been for anything. I don't think it was a bathroom, but it could very well have been. And these would just be those translucent windows that allow light to come in, but you can't see through them. So as we go back up on the pathway here, and my personal take on it is, they don't have to do a full restoration per se, but to do something to spruce them up, clean them up, and make them look nicer, and maybe even put markers down to show what they are or what they were, I think that would be a nice fitting tribute to the zoo itself, instead of letting it languish back here with almost no attention. It's sad to see what happened here. We continue down here. See another, there's a stage here. Somebody having a cookout. How you doing? I'll stay away from there because he's cooking food or something, or having a campfire of some sorts. I have my buddy on the ready in case I need it. So as we continue down the pathway here, looking to see, there's another location that JP and I have found that we spent a lot of time looking into, and it was very sad because there was a lot of trash in there, but it also looked like there was a lot of somebody's belongings in there as well, and homeless people squatting in there, and it breaks your heart because you hate seeing people in that position. I don't want to ever be in that position. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. And it pulls at the heartstrings. It's just a very sad thing. I would like to see that get cleaned up. It probably never will, but I would like to see it get cleaned up. Maybe even get it dug out and then just put something there to say what it was and explain to it, like a placard sign, like the one I showed you at that ruins of that one building there, or stage or whatever it was, over by the wading pool. Things like that would give identity, that would allow it to further tell a story. That's why when people ask my favorite explorations, I tell them I don't have a favorite exploration because I don't look at the location. I look at the story that's told from the location. And that's where I came up with the saying, anyone can look with the eyes, but the wise can see with the mind. Because if you see with the mind closely, you can see the aura of what once was. Versus looking at, say, a place where somebody's house used to be and say, oh, look at that, it's just an overgrown piece of land. When the reality was, it was actually somebody's property. This being the same thing, only it was a zoo instead of just somebody's residence. This was a zoo. And it would have been great to see what used to be here. Maybe sometime if I get an opportunity, I can try to do some more research, get more of the story. And that's what I'm into when I do these explorations, as I said. I go for the story that is told by the location. That information is absolutely invaluable, at least in my eyes. And it's also fun being able to get out in the fresh air and just do a hike. But when you get to learn the history and you get to study it and you get to respectfully tell the story for the location in its point of justice, it really gives a nice feeling for me personally. I know for other explorers it does the same. That's why when I'm out and about doing my explorations on abandoned locations, I'm like, oh, look at this, oh, look at that. You know, I try not swearing and stuff like that. I try to be respectful in my commentary. And it is looking like I may have passed by some of those buildings that I was looking for. And this does appear to be that fork in the road that JP and I came to. We went one way, weren't getting anywhere, so we turned around and went the other way. So I'm going to go back the way I came. And I'm going to pause it for right now. But if I find those buildings, I'll get right back to you. So, be with you momentarily. Give you an idea of the foliage here. You can see how tall it is right now. Some of it is past my head, and I'm 6'2.5". This was down to almost nothing when JPVideos and I were through here. Even though I didn't find those locations yet, I decided to restart the video from the pause to let you know that, you know, you can see what the foliage is like then and now if you watch JPVideos' video on the Kirby Park Zoo. You take the good with the bad with everything. The good is it's nicer weather to go out and do things and do explorations. But the bad is the foliage grows up and covers up a lot of what you're looking for. And the gnats are terrible. But yeah. I don't regret doing these videos. I love doing it. I put up with the bugs. I'll put up with the heat. I'll put up with the cold. Sometimes I'll do a video, especially in the wintertime, and I'm down for 2 or 3 days. It is what it is. But I keep going and I keep striving to try to do what I can to improve my channel, improve my videos. And keep a keen eye over here because we want to... The buildings that I'm looking for are over on this side. Behind me, or behind the camera I should say, is the riverfront, or what would have been a riverfront for the Kirby Park Zoo. But I want to focus on this side here because with any luck, on the second go around, we'll find those other buildings in that staging area. See how huge the trees are and how they're leaning over. I mean, I am 6'2.5", and they dwarf me like an Oompa Loompa to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or something. Terrible analogy, but accurate. Anyway, still trying to find those buildings. I know we found one, but I'd like to find all 3 of them. It would really make it better if we could find all 3 of those buildings. And it'll be worth getting all bit up. I'm not a big fan of being fresh meat, but I can't stand the cold because it hurts me too much. So originally going to do a waterfall video. Took a little bit of planning, a little bit of thinking of how to get down there safely. Got to just about where I wanted to be, and just like clockwork, a number of fishermen turned around, came down past where my car was, and decided they were going to go in there where I was and they were going to fish. And they had all their lines down, and it was at a point where I'd be unsafe trying to get in there because of the fact that I was trying to film and they're trying to fish at the same time. Okay, going past the stage where the guy is building his fire. I'm not going to film that, leave that go. And watch. The funny part about this, I'm doing this new video for this now, and lo and behold, as soon as I get home, I'll find the video that I had originally when I collaborated with JPVideos. Never fails. And That's it, it's a fallen tree. So we're back to your first building I saw. I'm wondering if perhaps maybe I was on the wrong path and this is actually the third of the three buildings I was looking for, and I just happened to find this one first because of the which way I came in from. So again, here's that building we were at earlier. Too much zoom. Yeah, we just checked this one out. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to see if we can't locate the other two buildings that I'm looking for. One being a building just like that, only reversed. And the other building that I was talking about where we saw people's belongings, trash filled in from the flooding, and all that lovely hijinks. I'm keeping it rolling because in the event that we do find it, I don't want to miss the opportunity and I don't want to lose my video. I'm not a big fan of having to do my videos in multiple parts, although I do it because I'm still learning to do the editing stuff. I've learned how to do photo montages, but some of my other videos I've wanted to do for editing, I have been unsuccessful as of this point. Let me just go up here. I want to see something real quick. See if there's a different pathway and I'm missing something. Crazy part in all this is where I'm at right now is, for all I know, excuse me, this could have been an area of places where animals were and stuff like that. Give me a moment. Okay. I was able to confirm that there was not over here, I did not miss the path. So back on the hunt we are for those first buildings that I wanted to show you. Again, we saw the third one, we just didn't get to sit. It's the first one that was like that, only mirror opposite, and the what looked like the staging with an underground area in it. The second building. And I'm going to look through this pathway up here, see if it got collapsed upon by the trees, and that's why I missed it. No, I don't think so. Okay. All right, back on the pathway here. I know there were three buildings. The two, like I said, the one we described, the stage again with the underground stuff where we found trash and people's belongings and stuff like that. Somebody was squatting in it. And why I can't find it right now, has to be the foliage. So I may be coming back here unless I find my original footage with JPVideos. I probably sound like I'm rambling, so sorry about that. But it's just incredible how the remnants of this zoo still remain today, and yet stuff that was built 10 years ago can just be wiped out as if it never existed. What do we got here? Is that it? No, it's not. Unfortunately, no. Trying to do this by memory when you are having a hard time remembering if you're even on the right path, which I now remember that I am. And the foliage, it changes everything up so much where you can't see stuff that you could see beforehand. Something's telling me we have something over here. So let me climb up here real quick. And we have remnants of somebody's tent and belongings, which means I am definitely on the right path, because this tent was here before when JPVideos and I were here. There's a shoe. Looks like a sweatshirt. And what we got here? Vaporizing chest rub, personal care, nasal decongestant, cough suppressant. Here's another shoe. Look how small that shoe is. That is a, see what size it is. I don't think it's an adult shoe. 5M. That's a child's shoe. Somebody is actually trying to take care of their child out here.